We met at a breakfast for EDSNA, which is the Eating Disorder Support Network of Alberta.
Yes.
And so tell me about your involvement with EDSNA and how that it's impacted your life.
So I was asked to come and speak at the event because in July of this past year, I relapsed with an eating disorder. And so that EDSNA was a big part of my recovery. And so I was asked by Sarah Johnson, who works there, to come and speak at the event. And it was really, it was really lovely. It was really empowering, I think, because at that time, I'm still actively in treatment for my eating disorder. And so it was really empowering because I got to meet strong individuals like you who had been through it and have recovered. I walked away that day feeling like I can do this. I celebrated my weight restoration, which means that I've recovered all the weight that I had lost since my relapse. And so that's been a really exciting part of my journey so far.
So proud of you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's huge. It's huge. So share with me, how did this all begin? How were you initially impacted by an eating disorder?
So I was diagnosed with an eating disorder when I was 12. And when I was younger, my recovery really looked like a lot of control from my parents because I was a child. And I couldn't make the right decisions for myself. It was constant therapy, going to a dietitian, having my meals monitored, all of that stuff. And I had recovered from my eating disorder when I was 16 years old. Lived a life where I thought I was free from food and eating disorder behaviors, but looking back, I don't think I was. I had developed coping mechanisms. I was still very much in the phase of I would work out to if I ate more that day, I would work out extra hard that day. And then this past summer, I graduated from university and went to New Zealand and had the best time of my life while I was there. But the first couple weeks, I think because my support network wasn't there, I didn't really know anybody yet. I hadn't had grounding. A way that I could get control was to manage my food and to manage my exercise. And so by the time I came back home, I was there for about 3 months, I was fully relapsed into an eating disorder. Eating disorders aren't about the appearance or the weight, they're about the behaviors. So it's funny when I say, what does an eating disorder look like? Mm-hmm. Because sometimes it doesn't look like anything.
That's right.
But it's the behaviors. For me, it did look like something. I had relapsed and I had lost 50 pounds. And so when I came back, I physically had the eating disorder look. But really what an eating disorder looks like is it's the behaviors surrounding food. My family and friends noticed it because I had restricted. I had started cutting out foods. I had totally gone vegan, and no carbs, no nothing. But it's hard because in the society that we're in, a lot of people actually told me that I was being very healthy.
I want to share what some of the, if you can recall, and don't even worry about it if you can't, but what are some of the statistics around eating disorders? Yeah, so actually in Canada, there are 1 million people who are affected by eating disorders. As well, the eating disorder unit at the University of Alberta, they get about 500 referrals a year. And I know from being in the treatment program, and I'm in the outpatient, they only have 12 beds in the inpatient unit, and they only have 5 dietitians on staff. So they can't take that many people. Actually, and the scary thing too is that eating disorders have the highest mortality rate of any mental illness. And I think that that's ridiculous because there's such a stigma surrounding eating disorders that they're a choice, and they're not a choice. And they're killing people. And another statistic is 1 in 10 individuals who have anorexia will pass away. And 1 in 10.
Yeah, 1 in 10. And it's the mental disorder that affects the most individuals, particularly girls in their 20s, and it's the number 1 reason for death for women in their 20s. And I just think that with statistics like that, why they're not talked about more.
So that leads me to, how do we change this? How can we help? What can we do?
Yeah, I think honestly, just talking about it. Eating disorders thrive in silence. And there's also, there's such a stigma around them. So like talking about them will get rid of that stigma. It will make people realize that it's okay to not be okay, and that there's support out there as well. Yeah. So when I went to go into treatment, I was told that my waiting, even though I had an urgent message from a doctor, my waiting was 3 months. And a lot can change in 3 months. And I knew that if I didn't get some kind of support, that I don't think I would have made it. And so that was when I just went online and I just looked around, and that's when I fell into the hands of EDSNA.
You are also an extremely talented artist and drummer, and these are some things that have helped you with your healing journey. Can you share with us a bit more about that?
Yes, definitely. So I'm First Nations Cree, and my culture is what keeps me grounded. So when I was going through everything, to be honest, the one time I wasn't thinking about food or exercise or being sick was when I was drumming. And drumming is such a healing thing. It reminds us that we're connected to Mother Earth. It reminds us of a time when we were the most safe. That's because the first sound that we ever heard was our mom's heartbeat. And that was when we were in the womb. And so I would drum and sing to remind me of a safe place where I was safe from I was safe from my eating disorder. It's such a part of my life, as well as culture. My culture teaches about balance, because we can't be human doings, we have to be human beings, is what my mom always says. And so reconnecting with my culture reminded me of how integral balance is to our health and our well-being.
Tell me about your art. What inspires you?
So my art, you guys can see it up on the walls. I paint spirit animals, so they're a chakoyak. And I paint the spirit animals. A spirit animal is an animal that relates to you or has certain characteristics to you. So every single animal is painted for a different person in my life. And they all have different stories to say too. And then I use the colors because they're called Chipayak Nemehiotoak, which means the ancestors dancing in the sky, the northern lights. Yeah, and so I represent them in my paintings as well.
What's your spirit animal?
My spirit animal is a wolf. Mohegan. Oh. Yeah, that one.
It's my favorite.
I know, funny? It was, when you said, I was like, oh, I can tell that you're a wolf.
Me?
Yes, oh yeah. Really? Yeah, oh yeah.
All right.
Wolves represent leadership. They also represent having your tribe, but also being independent. Huh. So like that balance. Yes.
I love it.
Yeah.
Should we be wolves together?
We should.
Okay, ready?
Hey everybody, thanks so much for watching. If you like these videos and want to join us on our ride of our web series Life of a Producer, then like and subscribe here. Right here. That's right. You got it.